Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Live to Roll show. I am your host for the day, Brianna Wheeler. I am so excited to be here with another women's disability show. Today's topic is going to be our journey on bar tips and drinking stories. And we have some wonderful guests with us today that I'm so excited to talk to and chat to. So let's start with introductions. My name is Brianna. I was injured 5 years ago. I was shot in my T12 and fractured L1 through L5. And I live in Los Angeles. Let's go to Kaley.
My name's Kaley. I was injured 14 years ago in a car accident. I broke C5, and I live in Fontana, California.
Thank you. I know, that's why I say Los Angeles too.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ania.
Hi, my name is Ania, and I was injured 4 years ago. This month, I fell 3 stories, and I am a complete injury in the T4, T5 area. Oh, and I'm from Cincinnati,
And where do you
Ohio.
live? Yes.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
And last but not least, let's go to Bentli.
Hi, I am Bentli Blaze. I was also injured by a gunshot wound. I'm a L2 partial, L3 incomplete, and I live in Amarillo, Texas.
Whoa! We're from everywhere today. Okay, so today's going to be exciting, talking about tips for bars and drinking stories. I'm so excited to hear these ladies' stories. I personally am not that big of a drinker, so I don't have that many tips for you guys, but I am so excited to hear some. So let's start. Oh, and we forgot favorite alcohol. Let's just go through and say it really quick. Kaley, what do you feel like your favorite alcohol to drink is?
Tequila, Patron.
Shots all day.
Shots all day.
How about you, Ania?
Tequila, Casamigos, and Patron as well.
Oh, yeah? You guys are the same? How funny.
That's my beach.
That's my beach.
And Ben, what about you?
I tend to lean more towards vodka, but I'm a shot girl. It's kind of like whatever comes your way. It kind of happens sometimes.
I'm a sissy. Before my injury, I actually was really into drinking vodka. I would just drink it. I was a shot girl too. But then afterwards, I don't really like hangovers that much. So I'm just like Trulies and like the girly drinks, you know, the fruity ones. I like those.
You're a seltzer?
Yeah. Not all of them. Like, I think some of them taste nasty. I need them like a little bit more fruity. But yeah, those help me. Like,
have you tried the high noons?
I haven't. Are they good?
Those are pretty good.
Yeah.
No, they're all nasty.
I don't like it. I know I don't like it. Fucking seltzers. I'm like, not for me.
You just gotta put a little bit of tequila in them, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'd rather put tequila in my water.
Okay,
Exactly.
And for everybody watching, we actually can't see who's watching unless you guys comment. So make sure to comment, let us know where you're from. If you have any questions, we will be going through the comments as we go through the live this hour. So make sure to throw your comments in there. Don't be afraid. Talk to each other and all that. And we'll make sure to acknowledge it soon. Okay, the first question is going to be, how long after your injury did you go to a bar? So Kaley, how about you? What was your first bar experience after your injury?
Well, I was injured when I was 14, so I obviously didn't go till I was, no, I lie. I was like 18 in the bar, but yeah. I mean, we'll just say 21. But I used to go to like an 18 and over club, and so I think, yeah, I guess 18.
And what was your first experience? Did you was it fine? Did you have any trouble? Like, were you nervous? Like, or you were just ready to do this shit?
I was ready because we used to have parties at my house a lot. So I was used to being around a lot of different people and a lot of different drunk people. I honestly don't remember my first experience of like how it went because it was so long ago. But I do remember one time taking double shots of Jack and Coke, and that was a horrible idea. I don't recommend that. I almost fell out of my chair. So that was probably around one of the first times that I went to the bar.
And what encouraged you to go? Did your friends push you, or were you like, I want to do this? Like, what was your encouragement?
I think I just wanted to. Like, I have always been a people person. I like to be around people. I like to meet strangers, different types of people. So it just, I just like to get out and around people.
I wonder if it helped also being injured younger because you really didn't have anything to relate it to. I feel like sometimes when you have it to like relate to like your old times, that's when like memories get stuck in your head and you kind of are more like negative about the situation. What about you, Ania? What was your first experience like?
I went out probably like a month after I got home from the hospital. I did not wait 1 second. My mom was like, "What the hell are you doing?" I was like, "I'm going out and I'm living my life." And I did not have a good experience because I was on a lot of meds and I've never taken the kind of meds that they had me on. So 2 beers deep, I was lit. I ended up peeing myself and I pooped myself and I went home.
Yeah, who were you with?
All my best friends, they threw like a little get together thing for me. So a couple of my good friends and mutual friends showed up and then all of my best friends were there.
Oh, that's so cute. So did you feel like that experience prevented you from going out again since it was so early? Or like did you like hold off a couple months or you're like, nah, fuck it. Like this is just life.
No, well, I didn't know that I pooped myself until I got home. So, but no, it didn't stop me. It just kind of made me realize that I need to get off all the meds that I was on. That if I was gonna still, party, because I'm a big partier. I'm a really big social butterfly. If you see me out 99.9% of the time, I'm taking shots of tequila. It's rare for you to see me out and not drink when any of my friends that are bartenders or any of my best friends go out and I'm drinking water all night and I don't drink. They're like, "What is wrong with you? Like, are you okay?" Because I'm usually the one that's like, "Shots, shots, shots. Are we ready? Let's go. Let's do this. Like, come on. Why aren't you taking a shot? Take a shot with me." So no, it didn't stop me. It did make me more careful though, as far as timing when I calf, and as far as seeing how much I can intake before I like truly like have to go or my bladder is full. The issue is I have horrible bladder spasticity, so I started wearing catheter like the balloon catheters when I started going out. So my experiences have gotten a lot better because all I have to do is just empty a bag now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's super
I don't have
smart.
to be in the
I think
bathroom
that's.
every 2 hours.
Were you a big drinker before your injury?
Yeah. I bartended for so long, and then I worked all of my jobs before my injury, except for two, were either cocktailing, bottle service, bartending, or serving. So I pretty much started going out at 17, and well, they thought I was 21 when I was going out, but yeah, I started going out at 17. So I was a pretty big partier. I had alcohol in my system when my accident happened, so they thought that it was alcohol related.
Cool, cool. That's interesting. Yeah. What about you, Bentley? What was your first experience like?
Well, I had to go home to heal. I was basically quadriplegic whenever I was first injured because I was shot 6 times. So I had 5 other injuries on top of my spinal cord injury. And so I had to go home to heal a little bit. You can only do so much physical therapy without your hands, like, as you know. And so I had a fundraiser at a bar, like right when I got home to heal. So I didn't start drinking for 4 years after my injury, though. I went to bars and I've been in the bar industry since I was 19, and it was no big deal. But my first experience, it was really like an outer body. I wasn't really there. I was on so many different pain meds, and it was so overwhelming because I hadn't seen anybody in so many months, and there were hundreds and hundreds of people at this event. So it was more
Yeah, I'm
of
sure
a
that was pretty
mental,
traumatizing.
yeah, it was more of a mental turmoil than anything. It wasn't a bad experience, but it was overwhelming for sure.
Yeah, I guess I never thought about the medications because I did try to start drinking after my injury, and I remember I had a really bad experience where I felt like I couldn't see, and I was like freaking out. I was like in the middle of like a blackout, but I was on a lot of medication too, so I wasn't really like weighing that out. And I'm a big smoker, so I was also smoking. I had just finished smoking, and I just like think it all hit me at once, and it was just super traumatic. I don't know how to even explain
I
it.
can't mix that. I cannot be a smoker and a drinker. It's either one or the other, but I don't like
That's
smoking.
how I am.
If I
Yeah,
mix
it's
those
so
two, I
funny.
am done. Consider me sleeping or in the kitchen, just eating and then sleeping.
Oh, I
But
smoke
you
all
do
of
you
like.
do
Uh,
so all you
Okay,
guys feel that way? Or you guys all prefer drinking or do you just separate the two?
I
No, I don't
prefer to
like
smoke.
smoking.
Like I would much prefer to smoke over drinking. Like I don't know. That's just me. But I use it
Yeah.
medicinally, so it's a little different. I drink more or less to disassociate. I actually smoke to calm and alleviate all my other problems like anxiety and things like that. So I don't know. I'd prefer it. I've never lost control being stoned, like other than my munchies. Like
Yeah.
I don't high call people like like it's not the
Same.
same. Like so
I know, because
like
when you people don't understand when you use it every day, you don't get like the same effects as if you just do it once in a while and you're just like all out of it, laughing and like having the munchies. Like I don't get that way anymore, and I almost like feel like it's like impossible, you know. But like same, I agree. I think that like my body just responds better when I smoke. So when I drink, I have to be aware of a lot more things, you know, and I'm just like I get a little bit more carried away, you know. So honestly, I hate the hangover. I already feel so nauseous and sick like during the day, so my hangovers are like the worst for me. What do you guys do for hangovers? Kaley, do you ever have one?
Oh, I just die
Yes.
for 2 days.
He's dead.
That's why when me
So
and Anna
you're like
hang
cool
out,
with it. You're just like, you know what? I'm
when
gonna
me and
plan
Anna
for it.
hang
The
out,
next
we're
couple
on
of
the
days,
same
I'm gonna be
level.
out.
When me and Anna hang out, we're like the same level of shot, 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 and then the whole next day or the whole rest of her trip out to see me, we're just dead. No more drinking.
Literally.
No more going
Or we'll
out.
try to convince each other. We're like, all right, like we can do it in like a day or two. Like we got this, and then we just nope. Just even the thought of drinking, we're just like nope, because we're gonna die all over again. We're not. No.
We have
And do
no
you feel
self
that never prevents you from drinking though? Like you feel knowing that you're gonna feel that way, or you guys are just like outweigh the party
When I
life?
don't hang out with Kaley, I don't get hangovers. When I hang out with Kaley, that's when I die. Literally, because none of
How
my
funny.
friends drink tequila like I do, so I usually have to stick to like a more calmer liquor. But when I'm with Kaley, it's just tequila, 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 and then 12 shots later, we're like,
literally.
That is so funny. Okay, let's go to our second question. Actually, let's go through the chat because our chat is actually popping today. We have a bunch of
our
viewers. So if you guys are joining in new to us, make sure that you
Oh.
drop a comment, tell us where you're from, tell us who you're here to see. I'm going to go through a couple right now, and then throughout the live, I'll keep on going through them. And then girls, if you guys want to shout anybody out, feel free as well if you guys see anybody out in the comments. So people are just saying hi. Elisa, Natalie, Brittany, all say, hey girls, hello, beautiful. Rebecca, here for Ania.
hi
I
guys.
still haven't gone to a bar being in a wheelchair. Yeah, it's a process. I think it can be a little nerve wracking, but we're going to talk about some tips today that hopefully will help you. Let's see. Brittany is also here because she heard about it from Ania. Let's see. Jania, what's up, ladies? I'm Jania, C4 Quad, Denver, Colorado. Thank you for joining us.
Hey.
Shallow. Hello, everyone. I'm Bentli's friend, Shelly.
Oh, Shelly. Love my Shelly Mo.
From Texas. Caesar, it's crazy because I used to drink a lot before my injury, but I got injured at 20. LOL. Yeah, I think sometimes it's we try it in the beginning and it's like not the same as before, so we like deter away from it. But I think you just have to learn tips. You have to learn your body again, learn your limit again, learn it what works, what doesn't. You have to like I have to flood myself with water. So you just like it's a learning process, I think, to get your body used to it again.
I also the way that I look at it is I feel like when you get injured at a younger age, I feel like you have it's a lot of an easier in a weird way, a lot of an easier process to put like go and live your life in a chair than it is when you were able to like live on your own, drive, you know what I mean? Like go out to
It's
bars,
easier
like
to
travel on your
adapt.
own. Pretty much like when you get injured younger, you're just like, oh, okay. But when you get injured at like, say, like 18 plus, you're just like, whoa, like I have to live back home with my parents. Like I have to wait to drive to learn. Cause like I'm terrified to drive now. Like I don't think my brain can process in a weird way that my legs don't work for me to use hand controls. Like my car just sits with my hand controls, and I'm like, every year I'm like, I'm gonna do it this year, and then I'm like, nope, we'll try again in a couple months, because it's terrifying, you know. So I feel like it's a lot easier mentally that way, but then again, no injury is easy on anyone, no matter what age you are.
I totally agree. 100%. And like before, we could just like be reckless, you know. You're reckless about like where you fell asleep. You're reckless about your friends taking care of you. You were just like more going with the flow when you were younger, and now it's like, whoa, I got things to think about here, you know.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know. I'm 33 now, and I still do lots of stupid shit like that. So
Me
I'm
too.
still
I'm like,
very
I'm
reckless.
still reckless. I don't know.
Okay, let's go to our second question. What was your worst bar experience? So how about you, Kaley? What do you feel like your worst experience was?
One time I went out with my friend and her coworkers to it was like a club, and we were just dancing, and some guy came from like across the room and grabbed my handlebars and tipped me all the way back past my willy bars to where like I was about to fall out of my chair. Luckily my friend caught me, and she like chased him, was gonna beat him with her high heel, but I was terrified. Like I have no idea why he did that. He just literally came from across the room. I wasn't talking to him. There was like no eye contact or anything, and he just try to throw me out of my chair, apparently. But I think that, and then just like random sweaty, dirty people wanting to dance on you is like, I don't like that. I mean, if you ask me, like, maybe, but I don't. People just like to get in your face and like grind on you, and it's just.
I think that they think that it's making you have a good time, but it's like you're really annoyed and you're like, hello, personal space.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, dance next to me. You don't have to dance on me. You don't have to grind on me so hard that I'm almost falling out of my chair. Like, that's too much. But I can't really.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of hard to set boundaries, I guess, in that scenario, right? Because it's like strangers, the music's playing, and you're just like don't really know how to. So, have you ever had to tell somebody like, "I need my personal space," or do you just let them like dance on you?
Yeah, I always have to tell people. Just recently, I went out and some guy was trying to hold my hand and dance with me, and I was like, no. First of all, like, we're just getting out of a pandemic. I don't want you in my face. You're sweaty. Like, don't touch me. And he was like, he kind of got offended, and I was like, I don't care. Like, I'm here to hang out with my friends, not you. Like, don't talk to me. Don't touch me.
I know, how funny. It's like it's like they get mad at you for telling them your boundaries, you know, but it's like that's what's going to make me have a good time, not you have a good time, you know? Like
Exactly.
it's kind of weird how people's minds are when they see different worlds.
They act like it's like a gift that they're gonna dance on you. Like they'll look at you, oh, I'm gonna come back and dance with you, and I'm like, no.
I feel that way when they just try to talk to you too. I feel like they feel like they're doing you like a service, and it's like, oh, hello, get on my fucking face.
Like charity work or something. Like, no, buddy, trust me, you are not. No.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. How about you, Bentli? What was your worst bar experience? Do you feel like?
I honestly really haven't had too many like bad bar experiences. Where I'm from, like I know fucking everybody. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, but I guess it's a good and a bad thing. A friend of mine, like my best friend, passed away a few years ago, and there was a memorial at her after her service a few days later, and her ex that I absolutely hate was there, and obviously I'm grieving, and I was probably like 10 shots of Patron deep, and he wouldn't leave me alone. Like he kept getting in my face and kept getting in my face. And like I said, I've had so many shots, and I was at like the blackout stage, and I snatched him by his beard and proceeded to beat the shit out of him. And it kind of started I mean, it's his fault. All he had to do was stand up straight. Like, I couldn't have snatched his beard if he wouldn't have been in my face. Like, it's his bad as far as like I'm concerned. And then he came back. He still came back. I smacked his glasses off his face, and it kind of turned into like a rumble, and people were fighting and having to separate us and stuff. So I don't regret punching his bitch ass in the face, but it was probably one of the more stupid things I did to like put myself in a dangerous situation. As much as I don't like to admit it, I am in a vulnerable state, being paralyzed now, and I'm still starting shit like I'm an able-bodied person.
I was just gonna
shouldn't
ask
be
you that
doing
because I like feel like I second guess like my actions now more. So I would be like concerned about me falling, you know, and then what do I do, you know? But you're just like, no, at that point you're so angry that you're like, if I fall, I'm bringing you down the fuck with me.
Basically, like my ground game is still solid. Like I was a brown belt. I taught kickboxing. Like I'm a little bit too confident when I'm faded for sure. I'm like, oh, I wish a bitch would like shit. So I'm like,
That is so funny. I love that you still own that personality, honestly, because I feel like my injury really prevented me from that side of me. Like I really got quieter and like I stopped really speaking my mind in situations because I felt like, how do I explain this? So before my injury, I was very like, what are you looking at type of person. But I didn't like people who would start problems and not want to fight, right? So like, you know, if you're pregnant and you're like right there talking shit and it's like, okay, you're not really going to get into a fight, you know? And so all of a sudden I felt like in this vulnerable situation and I felt like kind of, like if who's gonna freaking hit me, you know? And I felt like I was starting problems just to start problems, you know? So it kind of made me quieter. So I love that it didn't stop you and you still own that side of you.
I'm a lot of fun until I'm not. Like you can tell the people that like you know have partied with me. They're like, you might love that, but we do not. Like we wish she would shut her mouth. So
So funny. And how about you, Ania? What was your worst bar experience?
I have a couple. I'm like, I guess in a way, probably my worst ones are when the workers or the bouncers try to act like they're big mucho macho men. And so it was the like Thanksgiving Eve or whatever you call it, like the biggest bar night. But we had a snowstorm here, so like not a lot of people were out. So we were all out and about, and we really weren't like haven't even started drinking. And we went to one bar and it was like kind of dead. So then we went to another bar, but this bar is like old, like obviously an older building, so it's got like those three little sketchy steps that you know walk up to get in through the main door. Like every entrance has steps pretty much. So my friends carried me in, and they had like two or three drinks, and like coming out, the bouncer was like, "Whoa, like they can't carry you." They've been drinking, like it's a liability. And I'm like, okay, how the hell am I supposed to get out of here then? Like, you want me to just yeet myself off these steps? Like, what? And he was like, we can't let you do that. And I was like, okay, so like you're the only one working. Who else is gonna carry me? He was like, I got this as long as one of your other friends has you. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. He was like, but he has to grab you from the front. And I'm like, okay. So he proceeded to grab the back of my chair and my handlebars pull out. And I told him that before he even lifted me up. I was like, if you're lifting me, grab me by the back bar of my backrest or grab my tires and I'll put my brakes on. As long as they have my front frame, we'll be fine. Well, this dumbass proceeded to grab the back handlebars, and halfway down the steps, he obviously dropped me. I literally banged my head up, beat both of the back of my arms up, just literally pretty much skidded my body down the steps. And I had a drink in my lap that I had absolutely forgotten about, and it spilled all over me. And he went, "Well, if you hadn't come here, this wouldn't have happened." And I just looked at him. I said, "Motherfucker, you just lost your job." Like I will be calling, like I know the owner of this bar. Like you literally do not speak to anybody like that, especially somebody in a wheelchair. Like literally, the situation was handled. You just wanted to be big and bad because you're like 22 years old and wanted to show off that you could lift a girl in a wheelchair. Like, no, if you hadn't touched me, this wouldn't have happened. So that was probably my top worst experience when I first got injured. But then after that, a bunch have followed since. But those are usually out of town that happen when I'm like,
So did you complain?
yeah, I
Like,
called the next day. He got fired.
okay. I was like, good. Because
Yeah, I was
sometimes, you
like,
know, like,
who worked last night? And he told me, and I was like, yeah, I've never seen him before. And he was like, what happened? And I was like, review your cameras. And then he reviewed the cameras and called me back. He was like, dude, what the hell? Like, you could have sued us. And I was like, yeah. Most definitely.
Mhm. Yeah, actually, he's really lucky that you were his friend, because you
Yeah.
could definitely have sued it. And then even just him being so rude afterwards and been like, you shouldn't have come here. Like, you're
Yeah, me and my
supposed to
friends looked
have
at
a
him, and then
rep.
obviously my guy friends were like, trying to like start chatting. I'm like, guys, it's not even worth it. Like, at this point, I'm just over it. And then the second thing that followed that night, we were literally rolling like downtown on the sidewalk, and there was a line to get into one of the bars, and I obviously know like the people that work there and the owner, so I usually just skip the line and then go to the front. And I was skipping the line to go to the front, and there was this drunk guy that was walking backwards, and his friends grabbed his shirt to like pull him back, and he was like, hey man, get off, like I'm good. And I was like, well bro, I'm right behind you. And he just kind of looked back and then stepped forward and then drunkenly fell on top of me, knocked me out of my wheelchair. And at that point I looked at my friends, I said, I'm ready to go home. I am done. Take me home.
Oh
I
my
quit.
goodness. So have you ever fallen out of your chair and like seriously gotten hurt, like where you need to go to the hospital? Or like do you have any like is it just a part of going out? You feel like you're gonna
No,
fall, you
I
might fall, you
probably
might
fall
fall.
out of my chair a lot of times. I fall out of my chair either from people knocking back into me. I fall out of my chair from me popping a wheelie and then just like my body is just like wee, and then just falls back. But most of the time, how I fall
But you
out is
usually
when
have
people go
people
to
with
hug
you?
me. Yeah, but when people go to hug
Mm-hmm.
me and then they just lock my arms in, and then they're drunk and they just kind of like put all their weight on us, and then we're just like, okay, here we go. But
Yeah,
yeah, most of
definitely.
the time I
That's
have people
such a
with me. I've
part.
never fallen out to the point where I've like injured myself. I have not fallen out of my chair in a long time, actually. Knock on wood. So I've been decent
Fingers
about that.
crossed.
But most of the time it's other people's fault that I fall out of my chair, or if I'm like popping a wheelie and then I'm just like I have a body spasm and I'm just like, wee, here we go.
You're so funny. Okay, let's go through the chat because the chat again is cracking today. Okay, I don't even know where I left off. I think I shouted out. Brittany's here for Ania. Ania, you have a lot of fans here. If you want to say hey to everybody,
Hello, my loves.
She's famous or whatever.
Rebecca.
Hi,
I
Natalie.
know you have tons of fans here. Bran, hi, new here from WV. Anya brought me
My
here.
girls are great. And my
Marine, hey
guys.
Anya. Natalie, Adriana. Hello, everyone. I'm Adriana from Window Rock, Arizona. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Elizabeth. Jeffy, C6 here. Stacy, hello from Utah, here for Anya. Nicole, hell no, tell them to get the heck off of me. Haha, that's talking about the guys. Yes, tell them. Super chat from Nicole. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Nicole, so much for the super chat. That's so amazing. She wrote, it didn't let me leave a chat for some reason, but just wanted to say hi. Chi-Town Twins here. Support Live to Roll 2021, baby. Woo! Thank you so much. That helps us so much. Appreciate it. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us again. Otis, hi, ladies. Patrick, you know a girl doesn't appreciate your presence when she starts with, first of all. Yes, that's so true. So funny. Again, if you guys are here joining us new, make sure that you drop where you're from. Make sure you leave comments, or we'll be going through and shouting you guys out. We'd love to see who's here. We actually can't see who's viewing unless you comment your name and where you're from. So make sure to blow up those comments. Okay, let's see. Where are we going? Okay, what tricks do you wish you knew before going to a bar? So, Bentley, what do you wish you knew before going to a bar inside of the chair?
I mean, I really just acted the same way that I did pre-injury. Honestly, I think that like I said, I know everybody where I am locally, but I went to Marley Fest 8 months or 7 months after I was injured, and so I was out of town in Austin, Texas, on 6th Street, and I wasn't really. I was under the assumption that I would never be hit on again. No one would ever be attracted to me. Like, I think it's something as women that we all go through after we're injured. And I wish I would have been more prepared for interaction with drunk bar patrons, basically. And I wish that I would have been more prepared, because I remember specifically even getting mad at a dude because he was paying me a compliment, but I was being a dick about it. He was like, if I would have seen you walking across the street, you'd be the prettiest girl, blah, blah, blah. And my like instant, why couldn't I be the prettiest girl rolling across the street? Like, I just wasn't ready for those interactions. And I I think that I would have probably waited a little bit longer to kind of get settled into my injury. But other than that, it's really been the exact same experience for me. I haven't had a lot of issues, but like I said, I've been in the bar world since I was 19, and I have even worked in the bars since, bartending and working in the strip club at the door. And so I don't know. I can't say for everybody, because my experiences are pretty awesome, like thus far.
Yeah, well, I think that's an important tip that you mentioned, being expective of ignorant comments that you're going to get out in public, because you are going to get those ignorant comments. And it's like you have to choose, if it's going to let you affect you emotionally, because in the beginning it's very hard not to let it, or if you're going to be like, excuse me, I'm still a bad bitch in my wheelchair, because your mindset is different. So it's like just a different perspective on the situation can really change so much, and like, you can dismiss it also more, but I think that is a problem that I've heard multiple times, people dealing with like drunk people and them just saying rude comments. But you also have to throw into the fact that they're drunk, so it's like, are you going to sit here and argue with the drunk person and ruin your whole night, or are you just going to like let it be and just be like, oh, they're ignorant, fucking keep on going with my night, so like, I'm sure you guys have had both stories play out, but what do you feel like, Bentley, you do now more? Do you feel like you ignore them, or do you comment, or what do you do?
Oh, I'm very antagonistic. Like, I am gonna talk shit. That's basically my response to everything. Like, fuck you, you know?
Yes.
I don't have any time or tolerance. I just am like, eat a dick, dude. Like,
That's so funny. How about you, Kaley? What do you feel like you do when you hear an ignorant comment now out and about?
I feel like I tend to just, because they don't know they're being rude about it. People are not like, they don't understand that they're stupid comments. Like it's how it comes across, So I just kind of just thank you and move along. I'm out there to have fun. I'm not out there to fight with people. Like, I'm just not, I don't like drama. I don't like to have issues. I just want to dance. You don't have to talk to me. Like, that's that, like, I just want to have fun. So I don't really say anything. Sometimes I'll say a smart ass comment back, but
Yeah,
I just
if they
feel
catch you in the
I
right
just feel
mood.
like, what's the point? Like, I'm never going to see that person again. It's like not that big of a deal to me,
So true, so true. And what tips do you wish you knew before going to a bar in your chair?
Well, this is something that I did know, but I know a lot of people should know this. When you go out, like, if you have to cast, to wear a Foley, and you can just wear it for the time that you're out. But I had already started doing that because I used to just wear it at night. I mean, now I cast through my belly button, so it's much easier. I don't have to do that. But the whole Foley thing, so that makes it easier with cathing, because everybody is always asking me that. And I guess probably I wish I knew how to turn down free drinks, because you're gonna get a lot of them and you're gonna die.
I love that tip. That is a great tip. And how about you, Ania? What tips do you wish you knew before going to a bar inside your chair?
I don't know. I guess they mainly said the number two tips. Um, I don't know. Whenever I usually go out, I'm an asshole. When people are assholes to me, and I'm an asshole back 99.9% of the time. Kaley has seen me be an asshole multiple times. Kaley has seen me drag bitches across the floor multiple times for bumping into her, bumping into me, and me being kind at first, and then them not saying anything or coming back with my aunt's crippled. I'm like, okay, she's got a boot on. Like, what? Like, excuse me.
They can tell
But
you guys that whole story.
yeah, that's a whole ass mess. That, yes. But most definitely, like, The way that I look at it is when I go anywhere, I make my presence known the minute that I roll through that door. Not only for public safety reasons, like so people know that there's somebody in a chair if they act a fool or like whatever. But even though you're, say, like you go somewhere where it's just you and a friend, if you make your presence known and something goes down, one stranger in that room is going to think about it like, holy shit, there's a girl in a wheelchair in here. Like, is she good? Did she get out? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I make my presence known, and a lot of people that don't know me, that's immediately how they recognize me. And when I, like, even if it's a new bartender or if it's like an out of town or anything like that, like immediately they come up to me like within an hour, or like they let me know like a week later. They're like, dude, like I remember you from last week, like you came in here and you let your presence know. I'm like, yeah, well, because if anything goes down, like there's gonna be that one person in here that's gonna be like, hold up, there's a hot ass bitch in a wheelchair that rolled in here. I need to save her. I need to save her. I'm gonna be happy to save her.
Yes.
I got her back. So that's my number one tip. Make your presence known. Do not think that just because you're in a wheelchair that you don't deserve either the attention from a bartender or a worker or anybody. You know, everybody needs to respect their boundaries and have the same amount of respect for you as if you were to roll, jog, hippity scop, whatever in that bar. Like, make your presence known and let people know like this doesn't affect you. You're there for a good time, and this chair's not going to stop you like at all. At least that's what I do. I roll into a bitch. I'm
I love that.
let's do it. Let's get it.
And I say if you're not that confident, fake it till you make it. Own it, and the people around you, they're going to assume that you are that confident. And before you know it, by the third or fourth time you roll into that bar, you are going to be that confident because it's just going to be your new persona. So that's what I say. You know, just that's a big tip for me. Okay, so what 3 things? If you guys don't have 3 things, that's fine because it seems like you guys like the bars the way that they are. But what 3 things would you change about the bars to make your experience better? Kaley, what would you say would be some things that you would change if you could change things about bars to make it more easier or a better experience for you? What would it be?
I guess like accessibility, because a lot of bars are not that accessible. So that, and I want them to always let me on stage every time I ask if I could go on stage. That's it.
That is so funny. Yeah, so for accessibility, do you feel like it's more like to get into the place? Is it like bathrooms? Is it space? Like what is it that they're lacking?
Yeah, some of them it's to get in, but most of the time it's just like too many people around you. You don't have enough space to move around to go anywhere in the bar, and then the bathrooms usually are dirty. There's stuff all over the floor, and you're pushing through there. It's just gross. And then some of the bathrooms
a bunch of drunk people in the handicap stall.
Yeah, there's a lot of times I went into the handicap stall and there was just stuff all over the floor. It was disgusting.
Yeah, that's horrible. So what, in that case, what do? Do you still just have to use the bathroom, or do you complain and like have them clean it up?
Well, the one time that like it was really dirty, my sister-in-law almost got in a fight with the owner, so we confronted him. But like we told him, you need to keep it clean. Like that's your responsibility. You need to be checking on these things. Like, what are your workers doing?
I love that you guys speak up. I think that that's so important to do if you have, if you're not having an anxiety attack and like you feel like you're strong enough to go and confront the issue, because I feel like it helps the people that are coming after us, right? So the next girl that's newly injured, that's going out drinking and she wants to have a good experience, like you're speaking up for her. So you're not really speaking up for yourself. That's the way I kind of try to remind myself, that I'm speaking for the newly injured people, and sometimes their voices, they're not as quick to speak up neither, so if somebody takes somebody that's been injured a little bit more longer and has like more of a backbone to say something, like might as well just say it. So that's for anybody listening as well. Bentli, what would you say would you change about a bar experience to make it more better for you? Do you feel like it's accessibility or anything else?
I agree with the accessibility issue, but my issue is more with the bathrooms. A lot of places here are older buildings and you can't even get into the restrooms. Like you have to kind of pick and choose. You're like, oh, I'm going to go to this venue and not be able to go use the bathroom. And So really, that's my biggest issue here. And like where I'm from, overpouring for sure. Our circulatory system is compromised already, and whenever you have like 10 shots in an hour, it really can make things problematic as far as even just functioning, but not being able to use the bathrooms and things like that. I mean, it's just important to be responsible about it.
Yeah, my dog is going crazy right now, so I'm gonna ask Ania really quick so I can give him a treat. What would you change about your bar experience if you could?
Probably accessibility, most definitely, or change the fact of I think the number one issue a lot of wheelchair users fall into is when they have a drink handed to them, they're just kind of like, okay, this is gonna spill all over me. I feel like if they had like cups with lids, which would come in handy when it comes to like getting roofied and shit, that would be a plus if they would allow that. If you ask for a to-go cup at most bars, they literally act like you're asking them to cut their fucking left big toe off or some shit like that. So I'd probably ask for them to do that. But other than that, like Bentli, I struggle with a lot of older buildings here too. Most of the time, the guys' restrooms are a lot more accessible than the females' restroom at those old buildings. So I'll go into a male's restroom, but then you have the small dick syndrome men that will literally say something when you come out, like, how are you going to be in there using the room or using the bathroom, taking up our time? Like, we've been waiting out here for 10 minutes. Like, okay, like, I give a shit. So yeah, I would
And there's
probably say
pee
that.
everywhere.
Huh?
I said there's always pee everywhere. Like I have
Yeah,
that
and it smells
issue.
like shit. Like me
So
coming
gross.
in there, my perfume just made this place a little bit more tolerant. So you're welcome. Or tolerable. Is that the word? Tolerant, tolerable? Whatever the word is. But yeah, accessibility most definitely. Other than that, there's really not much you can do. Bars are gonna be bars. It all depends on how close you are with the owner. If you're close with the owner, by God, they will literally do anything and everything to make you comfortable, and those that come after you to make you comfortable. But unless you're a regular at that bar, or unless you're super close with the owner, or you pretty much threw a fit a couple of times to make a difference, they're gonna just look at you, nod, say, yeah, we'll make a difference, but they're not going to.
And one thing I will say too is if you've never been in like a VIP area, whether it's at a club or a strip, like going to a strip club, things like that, a lot of VIP areas are upstairs, sadly, and don't have accessibility otherwise. So
Yeah.
unless you are okay to be carried, which I have maybe a time or 10, but if
A
you
time or
are
20.
if you're
Me and
uncomfortable
Bentley
with
up in the
that,
circle
just
box. Hey.
all the way up there.
I want you to get those steps in, sir.
Exactly. But just be prepared if you are wanting to do any kind of VIP experience. A lot of those places, sadly, are upstairs.
I'm broke. I
And
can't do
VIP places are
VIP,
pretty
so
small too. Like the sitting areas, they're pretty small too. So most of the time you have to actually get out of your chair and sit, and then you have to sit there and wait around for a bouncer to go and fetch your chair, or get a bouncer's attention to go and get your chair or whatever. So there's also that. A lot of places in Miami though, they'll just put my chair like in an empty VIP section, and I'll just be like, hey, you chilling, girl? Yeah, I'm chilling too. But other than that, yeah, accessibility probably most definitely. But like I said, you won't change that unless, just like I was in Key West not too long ago, and I wanted to see some titties. There was a bar that allows you to you can literally be naked. Like there's no phones allowed, and it's the third floor. I don't remember the name of it. It was like Garden of something. I don't know, but two of my guy friends were there, which was Liam and then Harrison and then Jess. Liam went up and he talked to the bouncer, and he was like, hey, like, you've got a handicap entrance, like, how do we go about getting on the third floor? And the guy's like, oh, like, you can only access the first floor. And I'm like, nobody's on the first floor, everybody's up there trying to see titties, like, me too, like, what do you mean? So of course I threw a fit, and then the manager came out. After like 30 minutes, the manager came out and he was like, that's not happening. He was like, the only way you're getting up there is if I carry you. Mind you, this guy is like 5'7", looks like he barely can bench like half my weight. I'm like, you're gonna carry me up there, but my friends can't. And again, the liability part came in. So I was like, well, like if I'm gonna be sitting on the first floor, like the first round is on you guys. Like you should be a lot more accessible. And he was like, well, if we were to become accessible, we'd have to demolish the whole damn building. I'm like, no, you really fucking wouldn't have to do that. Put an outside elevator by your side steps. Like that's all you would need to do. It's really not that complicated, bro. But
But
whatever.
so
And then
they don't have an elevator to bring up their kegs or anything like that?
yeah, they said that they did, but it's only the size of a keg, which probably not. It was probably filled with trash and nasty shit and probably barely worked or whatever. But
We have
yeah,
an
he ended up
elevator, but
carrying me
it's
up.
keg size.
Yeah, he ended up carrying me up, bitch the whole time. And then as soon as he got me up there, he was like, I don't want any more trouble from you and your friends. And I was like, okay, like at this point, I don't even want to be here.
They like dismiss the disabled people because they feel like the majority are able-bodied, so they might as well just like make them happy. But it's like that's unfair, you know. And I feel like karma is gonna hit them when they least expect it, you know, and they're gonna have to experience what it's like not to live inside of an accessible world or have somebody that they know, you know. And I don't think people put that into their head. Like I was walking until I wasn't, you know, and it's like you don't know how many people that are actually disabled. Because for me, since I know so many people inside a wheelchair, I'm sure you guys can relate. I'm like, hello, there's tons of us that need this fucking accessibility, you know?
Yeah.
And they're dismissing it. They're not paying attention because it's not like in front of their face constantly, you know? And it's a big problem with society, like our whole world in general.
Well, plus a lot of them act like it's like I guess I don't know, like, oh, so glad to see you out. Like they act like we don't go out, you know? They think we're just at home. So they think, well, it's just you. Like there's not other ones.
Okay, so going to our next question, Bentli, what do you feel like is your most embarrassing drinking story? What do you got for us?
Yeah, I I really was racking my brain with this whenever I read that. I was like, so what I remember, like what I've been told, like I'm gonna need specifics for this question. But honestly, the most embarrassing thing to me is I went to jail. Um, I am I'm like that. I cannot stress this enough to anybody that's listening. You can still get a DWI being in a wheelchair, and I got hogtied. They put the helmet on me. I caught a few charges. So
wait, I need some background story, girl. So, like, what do you mean? Like, what started this? What started this roller coaster?
I wrecked my van. My hand controls actually malfunctioned and I wrecked. And my little brother carried me. I went to jail in a church parking lot, y'all. Like, fucking.
So you were drinking and then you got pulled over? Is that what happened?
I didn't get pulled over, but I wrecked and was waiting to, take responsibility. And my brother was getting in trouble. And I had obviously been drinking and I lost my shit basically and became combative. And so I got a DWI, resisting arrest, and assaulting a police officer charges. And fortunately, the resisting and the arrest and the assault did end up ultimately getting dropped, but I had to do probation and it was super expensive and I had to be put in max security. And as you know, like we can't stand and squat and cough. So I had to get really, really creative for those strip searches. And it was the most awkward, horrible situation ever. And it really, like, it's by far the most embarrassing shit that's ever happened to me, like, by far. And I now am a lot smarter. I have not driven intoxicated since. This happened in September of 2019, and that's the first time I've ever even been to jail. I've ever been in trouble. Like I went super fucking ham apparently. Like when I got in trouble, so I just can't express that.
That's scary because I hear like it's really hard when you're inside of a chair and like that they're not like even.
They confiscate your wheelchair if there's
and, like your cushion,
watching. Right? They take your whole ass wheelchair. Like I had to throw a complete fit about getting my cushion, but they say it's contraband, and they take it, and I ended up being able to get my cushion back, but it was like a giant pull-out airport chair that they put you in, and they do have an accessibility, like they have an accessible cell. Like that was something I didn't know about. So I'm like, that's cool. They can have accessible fucking jail cells, but they can't have accessible bars. Like, I'm glad they have their priorities.
That's so funny. How about you, Kaley? What's your most embarrassing drinking story?
Oh God, I have so many, but I guess most of them are the Snapchat memories I see. One time I got on the mechanical bull.
Wow.
I don't remember that, but the memories that I saw on Snapchat the next morning, that was pretty embarrassing. I've fallen asleep a few times in my chair. Luckily, I always go out with somebody that I trust. They just push me to the car and throw me in and take me home. But yeah, probably getting on the mechanical bull and making the guy who operates the bull help me on the bull and hold me up while I was on the bull.
I loved that.
That's so funny. What an adventure, though. You know, I feel like when you're going out, you have to have an open mind to things and not be closed-minded, because that's how you're going to have the most fun and make the most memories. Honestly.
But yeah, that's why me and my sister-in-law are not allowed to go out alone anymore. We always have to have a babysitter.
And when you go out, do you ever tell people like ahead of time, like, hey, if I get too drunk, like this is just what you do, or do they like already know? Do you have that conversation like beforehand of like what happens if you do get too drunk?
I only go out with people that I trust and that like I've been around and they know what to do. So most of the time I just fall asleep. You can ask Anna. Or if I want to go home, I'm just like, I want to go home, and that's all I'm going to talk about.
There, you cannot talk to her. You cannot talk to her about anything but home at that point. As soon as she starts going home, it's just, Kaley's just No matter how many chicken nuggets or ranch cups you try to convince her with, she just wants to go home.
That is so funny. That's super cool. What about you, Ania? What's your most embarrassing drinking story?
Oh, that's at Kaley's house. So me and Kaley talked for about what, Kaley, like 6 to 8 months before I flew out to you.
Yeah,
something like that. I don't know. And she was like, "Come out here," and I was like, "Bet." So I came out there. Her mom and her picked me up. Me and Kaley ended up getting ready that night because, of course, that I feel like this is how the tradition started. Of just the day that I get there is the day that we're going, and it does not matter. Well, anyways, me and obviously like. Her mom like showed me how to like help cath her or whatever. So like I was helping her throughout the whole night. We were doing so well. And then it came to coming home, and me and her were just, I mean, we were there, but we weren't there. Like we were there to we were there mentally, just us. Like we were having a conversation,
literally just
us, nobody else. And we were with her best friend, Ron, and I guess some guy kept was on me and kept telling people I was his wife all night, and he ended up coming back with us. And me and Kaley were like, "Ron, just put him in the car. He's fine. He's coming with us." We don't remember anything like that. We stopped by Jack in the Box on the way home, got a bunch of food. I was force feeding Kaley from the back seat. I think one tender made it in her mouth. The rest was all over the floor. We get into her house, and oh my God, mind you, this is the first time I've ever met her family. This is like the first time I've ever met her. We get in her house, and Ron got her in bed.
Wait. First, we get out the car, and the guy gets out, and I'm like, "Who's that?" And Ron's like, "You guys insisted we bring him home," and I'm like, "I don't remember that. How did he get here?" He's like, "He was in the car the whole time," and I was like, "Oh." And then we go inside.
Like, hey.
Yeah. See, I don't even remember that part. Like, I was so oblivious. I was just rolling my ass in the house. And we get in the house, and then I'm in Kaley's room with her, and I'm like, "Bitch, wake up. I want to drink more." She's like, "No, bitch, I'm going to bed." I'm like, "Bitch, is your dad awake? I'll go out outside in the garage and drink with him. She's like, no, bitch, my dad is sleeping. I'm like, bitch, is your mom awake? And I'm like, and she's like, no, my mom's fucking sleeping. Mind you, this whole time her mom's in the room, dressing her, like helping her in bed. Me and Kaley literally incoherent that she's in the room, nothing. All of a sudden,
we were having a whole argument about her going outside.
All of a sudden, we come to it because Denise goes, who the fuck is in my kitchen? And I'm like, huh? She's like, who's in my kitchen eating jalapeno poppers? I'm like, hold up, what? And I roll out there and I'm like, who are you? And he goes, you brought me out here. And I'm like, yeah, no, you need to go. And he's like, I'm on like the other half of the side of it, like my town. And I'm like, well, I guess you better hurry up and call your Uber. And we just like kicked him outside. And then I rolled back into the house. Literally rolled back into a room. She got in bed. I got in bed in the middle of the night. I thought that her chair was my chair because my handlebars were swung around. And I ended up eating literally face planting out of her bed. She didn't even budge a muscle, didn't even hear me. So I'm like, fuck, her bed is so high. Like, I don't want to wake her mom up. So I was like, I'll just crawl out to the living room. So I literally was like zombie crawling. I didn't have my phone because it turns out I left my phone in the car because we couldn't find it the next day. I'm zombie crawling and our best friend's on the couch and all he sees is just like a body just slithering across the floor. He goes, oh, what the fuck? And I'm like, hey, dude, I think I hit my head. I may throw up. Can you put me on the couch? And then passed out. She woke up. I was gone. My wheelchair was in her room. She called her grandma like,
No, I called your phone like 27 times.
Oh, yeah, she called my phone, but obviously it was in her mom's car, so I wasn't answering it. And then she like told her grandma, was like, did she leave with that guy? Like, where is she? And she's like, no, she's in the living room. I'm like, good morning. Hi. So embarrassing. Denise is like, don't do that ever again. I said, I am so sorry, ma'am. My apologies.
That is so funny. That is a great story. My goodness.
Yeah, it was so embarrassing though, because I was like, Jesus Christ, how dare you?
You're so determined though, even when you're drunk. I love it. I love how determined you are.
Well,
yep, we were living our best life.
But I bet that made you guys more even closer. Like you guys are just like best friends forever after that.
Yeah,
we
now
were
when
already
I
close.
like,
We met, and it was like a bond.
Okay, let's see who's in the chat. Ken, hi from Kaley, C5C6, hello. Jazzy J, we love Kaley too. I love you, Ania and Kaley. Shout out from Washington.
Oh, thanks, Jazz.
We have Devin. Hey, girls. Hey, shout out to Ania. Andrew, I don't go into bars unless it's a holiday. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I feel like holidays might be a little packed. Yeah, I feel like it would be more packed on holidays, right?
Yeah.
Maybe try going, maybe on a weekday or something when not that many people are there to see your experience, because it might be a little bit different, Andrew. Might want to try it out.
Like
Haley,
on a Tuesday.
Shout out to Ania, Haley. Yeah. Turn up.
Hi, Haley. Hi, my
love. Andrew, it's in UK. It's hard to order at a bar counter, not wheelchair accessible when I used to. Oh, that's interesting. So, what do you guys do when you guys don't reach an accessible bar counter? You guys are just like, "Hey, down here, yo."
Yeah,
I think most of the bars are just like this high for me. I mean, I don't think I ever go to a bar and they're higher than like this. So, but yeah, maybe different in Europe.
I don't have any issues, but I'm like the same. Like I demand that you know my presence. So like, I'm gonna wave you down to get my drink if I can't get to the bar.
Yeah,
99.9% of the time, I already have a drink ready as soon as I come in. Somebody's already got me.
Yeah, there's shots waiting as soon as you roll in. Like it's party time.
Yeah.
Natasha, hello everyone. Andrew, I went to a work party and I had to be carried up the stairs, which was really embarrassing for me. I feel like own it. You know, if you're in a situation where you need to be carried, if like all you're thinking about in your head about how negative the experience is and how it's like not the normal thing to do, it won't be a good experience. You know,
I've used this as an excuse. Like I've had some super fine men. I'm like, oh, you know, I think that you might need to carry me. Like, oh,
and you know, actually, most of them enjoy that. They're like, this is not like whenever I usually go out with a guy multiple times. They're like, I could get used to this, like carrying me into their truck to, make it a quicker transfer or whatever, or like carrying me up stuff. They're like, oh, I could get used to this because you're like all like close, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, ooh, could you? Of course you could, duh. But
you're so strong.
They don't mind it.
I don't know. I get carried everywhere all the time, so it's no different.
I don't know.
I have no qualms.
Yeah, I'm open as hell when it comes to carrying me.
Yeah, like it's like your perspective on like how you want to view it, like what's embarrassing.
Yeah,
not. That's what I would say. Like switch your perspective around, and you'd be surprised of how more enjoyable your nights are out.
For sure, that makes a huge difference. Like, and as vulnerable as it may make you, and I don't like being vulnerable, sometimes you have to trust your like strangers, and I've like developed amazing friendships that from people that were strangers and that took such amazing care of me that now we're friends. Like I did a Queen of Carnival contest at a tattoo convention, and I was in a state like several states away completely by myself, but the tattoo homies were there, and the guys lifted me up on stage whenever it was my time to go up there, and I did not know them, and now like I'm super cool with them. I'll get to see them at the next convention. Like it's neat getting to trust your fellow man and them actually not disappointing your ass.
and my whole thing is like, if you need help, you need help. Well, what are you gonna do? I mean, you need that help. That's not your fault.
Exactly.
I agree. I think I think it's a perspective thing where you're like you're comparing it to you being able to do it by yourself or like what those people can do, and you can't do that. You have to embrace what you need to do to make your night the shit, and that's just the way you need to go about it in your head. Exactly. So don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be afraid to make your presence known, like they said. So I just want to mention another comment for Ania. Brittany said, Ania, next time you're in Florida, we need to kick it and go bar hopping. I literally live 10 minutes from Jess and Leah.
Yes, is that Brittany Carroll?
Yes. I'm like, are you comprehending what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying over here? I don't know the people that he's talking about. Okay, great. And then Peter, all my drinking stories are from the Army. LOL, your ears would fall off. Oh, Peter, reach out to Sean. Maybe we need to have you on the show as well, and they can do a guy show of drinking stories. I think this is a great topic because I feel like tons of people want to get back into drinking, and they want to go to bars and go to clubs, but they're just scared, and they need that push, and they need to hear like other people's stories and just tell them like, hey, it's okay, and if it's not okay, it will be okay tomorrow.
Maybe not. You might be hungover.
At the end of the day, shit happens. Move on. You can either dwell on it or move on from it.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay, and you can always outdo yourself. Like you'll embarrass yourself more at another time if you really think it's that bad. Like you can be worse.
It's an able-bodied thing too, right? Everybody embarrasses themselves. Everybody falls. Everybody does that, like whether you're in a wheelchair or not. So I think that's another thing to remember. Like nights out are just crazy in general. So if you're deciding to have a night out, like that's going to be the repercussions of it, And I feel like it was the same thing when you weren't in a wheelchair. So I think that's something to keep in mind. So another question I want to touch on is, does drinking ever affect your disability? So Kaley, does drinking ever affect your disability for spasms, nerves, or... Well, we kind of touched on transferring in bathroom, right?
Yeah, I'm like super paralyzed, so I'm quad, so it's different. Like I can't move that much as it is, so I guess not really. I definitely get more confident with what I can do when I'm drunk. Like I think I can move more than I actually can. So maybe that is one thing, but other than that, I don't really think so.
Okay, and how about you, Bentli?
Same. I really, my inhibitions being thrown out the wind, like it makes it a little bit more daredevil personality, like quirks and stuff come out, but that's basically the same.
So your spasms or your nerves, like it's like you're less like you're not, none of that stuff affects you.
I don't have spasms and things like that. I have really bad neuropathy, like but it's more concerned with barometric pressure changes. But alcohol doesn't affect it at all, really. It's just mental anguishes and things that I have to deal with. Physically, I don't have any issues with the alcohol.
Okay. And what about like transferring? Do you usually have somebody there like that knows you're going to be drinking and will help you transfer, or do you just do it yourself?
I do myself. Like, I'm very independent. I live by myself, and I drive, and I'm a full time artist now, and I'm alone 85% of the time. And so if I can't transfer myself, then I need to stop fucking drinking. Is like my mentality with it. I'm like, if I need help, like to
Okay.
get into the car, then I need to stop. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Okay.
enough for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
night.
There's definitely limits to certain people, and like I agree as well. I like to be buzzed, but I don't like to be like drunk, where I don't really
Oh,
know what I'm doing.
I like to be drunk. If I'm gonna be drinking, I want to be
Yeah,
like
if I
fucked
same.
up.
If I'm gonna drink, I'm
So,
gonna drink.
You guys are so crazy. And Anya, are you the same way? Does it affect your spasms or nerves at all when you drink, or not really? Does it affect your disability at all?
Yeah, my spasms go away when I'm drinking. My balance becomes absolute shit. I have pretty good balance, but when I'm drinking, it's just out the window. I don't know if this glare is bad. I can't see myself in my screen anymore. But
It's okay. It's kind of like in the middle of you. You
the
look like you're
next day,
shining a
my
little bit.
spasms, huh?
I said it's just in the middle of you. We can still see your face, so it just looks like you're
Oh,
shining.
okay. Yeah, as far as spasms the next day, they're probably worse. Probably because I
Mm-hmm.
beat my body up the night before. I get too confident. I do my own transfers unless I'm super drunk and it's like a high car or like a truck. Then I'm like, all right, lift me up in there. But other than that, no, I get horrible. The only time I get horrible nerve pain is if I do like a 3 or 4 day binge of just partying, which I never do anymore. I can't even tell you the last time I did that. Well, I did that like 2 weeks ago, but it wasn't like tequila. It was more so like seltzers. You know what I mean? But yeah, whenever I go on those like let's party all weekend, my body hates me. My nerve pain is through the roof. But I don't take anything for it. I just like deal with it and then just do it all over again the week later.
Okay, and when you're drinking, do you drink water as well,
uh,
or do you just?
I don't know
Yep.
if y'all can see
So
this.
most of the time, I'll say like if I have 2, 3 shots, I'll take a water in between that. I did not used to do that. Either that or I'll start drinking pickle juice. Pickle juice helps with my hangovers and helps with me not having like horrible bladder spasticity the next day. But most of the time after drinking,
Oh,
it
okay.
takes me forever to actually like pee. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll pee, but I'll be so dehydrated that I don't really pee. No matter
Yeah,
how
that's how
much
I am.
water I drink, it's just like, nope, not
Oh,
today,
wow.
sis. Try again tomorrow.
Yeah, that's happening. I think a lot of people don't like to drink water when they're drinking because of having to use the bathroom. But like we mentioned, I think a Foley catheter is a great recommendation for that, so that you can just like not have to worry about that part of it, because it's like it's annoying to go to the bathroom when you're able bodied, and having to go pee constantly. So of course it's going to be annoying when you're paralyzed. So it's just a great fix. A lot of people feel like it's like they're not supposed to. I don't know, but I think that it's a great fix for a night out. If you're gonna have
Yeah.
some fun. Um, so I saw a comment in here. Okay, Quad Life said, "Are you guys single, and how do you guys approach people at like how do you approach people
Haha,
at
sorry, I
bars?"
had to move. That shit was bothering me.
No,
Okay, so
no
what?
worries. So
I'm like,
I
what is your
wonder.
definition of single?
I'm in an entanglement.
Yeah, like
So I'm not sure, Quad Life. I'm not sure if you're asking if how would we want to be approached, or how do we approach other people. I'm not really sure. What do you guys think that comment is saying?
I'm like, come over
How do
here and
you
sit
guys?
on mama's
How do
lap
guys
type
approach you
shit.
guys at the bar? Okay. So he is asking, how do guys approach you guys at the bar? So Kaylee, how do
oh.
guys usually approach you where you're like interested with them? How should they approach you at the bar? You're like,
Honestly,
don't
guys
talk to
Normally,
want to
me.
approach me. I have like
That's
a
what I was
really
saying. They
big
shouldn't.
dick, and they think I'm gonna like murder them, so they don't really talk to me. But
Mm-hmm.
if they do, it's just like normal, like, hey, can I buy you a drink? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And then I'm like, okay, thanks, and then bye. Because I don't want to meet a guy at the bar, so.
Okay. So you're more like off-putting about it.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm nice. I'll talk to you.
Uh-huh.
As long as you're buying me drinks, I'll talk to you. But that's it.
And how about you, Anya? How do you want a guy to approach you at the bar?
Normally, I absolutely hate when a guy approaches me like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty for a girl in a wheelchair." I'm like, thanks. Hi. I don't know. Just approach me normally, just like I would approach you. Most of the time, when men approach me, I itch and then I tell them to go away because I'm like, "You have fleas. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. Don't breathe the same air as me." Um, I don't like when men approach me. I like when I approach a guy. Because I feel like when a man approaches you and you deny him, then most of the time they start throwing the disability card in there. Was that like, I wanted to fuck around with you anyways? You're in a wheelchair, or oh, you think what, you're too good for me? Oh, you're crippled. I don't know. So after that, I'm just like, bro, you have a small dick. Like I wouldn't even want you anyways. So most of the time, I don't like when guys approach me, and literally, I can't express this enough. Not every girl that is out that's single wants to be attacked by men. They act like vultures. They see a group of girls come in and they immediately, it just dings in their head like, oh look, one for me, one for you, one for me, one for you, one for me, one for you, let's go. Like, no, we're here for a good time. Like most of the time we don't want men to approach us or hit on us. Like if we don't initiate conversation after the first hi, how are you, can I buy you a drink, like leave me the fuck alone.
Please.
Yeah, and I think that I used to have that problem when I was walking and I would go out with my friends. Like, we would just want like a girls' night, and just like all these musty ass guys are all over you, and you're like, mm-mm. I'm not saying that every girl's like that. Some girls do go out to meet guys, but I feel like read the
Yeah,
room,
of
and I feel like
course.
if you are one of those guys, don't get defensive if a girl's not wanting to talk to you. That's her choice, and she might not. She just might want a self-care night out with her girls, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you neither if she doesn't want you. I would just say like the most important thing to remember is just to talk to girls inside of chairs just like regular freaking people. I think that's the most biggest thing. And I think that a lot of people appreciate when you're not like first like, okay, what happened to you, what is going on with your chair, blah 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 blah, about my disability.
Yeah,
No,
like I
it's
don't
just
want to
like,
have to literally re-say the same thing every single time. Like that's the number one thing I hate. What happened to you? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. How do you feel about that? So like, I don't have to want to sit there every time that I go out and have to like explain my disability to a stranger every single time that I go out. Like when you approach me, like talk to me as if you. My number one thing that I like to do is not be in my chair, put my chair out of sight, and just be sitting in like a regular bar stool or a regular like booth. And then when a guy hits on me, and then like we kick it off or whatever, the number one thing that I love is when I ask my friends to bring my chair up and I get in it, and their reaction is just like, whoa. Like this girl is normal, but she's in a wheelchair. Like, whoa. You know what I mean? It's like
it's like
you
their
look at
brain
them and
doesn't
it's just like
comprehend
they've seen
it.
a ghost. Yeah, it's like they've seen a ghost. I'm like, okay, like calm down, buddy. It's just a wheelchair. It's not gonna fucking bite you. Like it's gonna be okay. Because and then I
Like if
always
you just
compare
brought
it
out a
to,
huge ass anaconda.
yeah, like what did you think? I just brought out a big ass dinosaur? Like what is that, T-Rex? Like what? It's fine. And I always compare it to when I used to go out and stuff. Obviously I'm super tall, so like I would be sitting at like in a bar stool, and then like a guy would sit next to me and hit on me the whole time, and my friends would immediately know that they're short just by like walking up. As a bartender, you learn to measure guys by bar stools, if that makes sense, and the bar, if that makes sense. Like immediately when a guy approaches you and you're sitting, you know right off the bat he's 5'7", or he's 5'8", or he's 5'4", and it would be comical because they would hit on me the whole time and I would entertain it, and they'd be like, "Oh, do you want to go smoke?" And I'd be like, "Yeah," and I'd get up and they'd be like, "Shoom." I'm like, "Hi, buddy. How's it going down there? You good?" So I always compare it to that because they would literally look up like, "Oh my God, you're so tall." Now you're just like, "Oh, you're in a wheelchair?" Like, yes, surprise,
Yes.
motherfucker.
So funny. I love it. So we're going a little bit over time, but I feel like this conversation has been flowing so much. So we definitely touched on drinking tips. Do you guys have any last drinking tips or any advice with drinking or bars that you want to give? Kaley, do you have anything?
Just go out and do it. Try it. You're not gonna know how it is until you try it. Sorry, my low battery thing keeps popping up.
Same.
No worries. We're almost done. Okay,
I was
we're
plugged
wrapping
in.
up.
So if y'all lose me, that's why.
How about you, Anya? Any last drinking advice or any last tips for going out to bars?
Put on that piece of clothing or put on that makeup, whatever makes you feel comfortable, guy or girl. Put on something that made you feel hot right before your injury and go out there and do it. And you never know. You may meet somebody, you may make new friends. I've met a lot of people that are injured going out and about rather than on social media that are in my area. Especially at local bars, they come in, I'm like, oh my God, like you exist? Like you're the first person I've seen in a chair in like 2 years. Hi. Because like social media can only take you so far, and the way that I look at it is you're not going to be happy until you put yourself out there. And it may take a little bit. Start out small, go out during the day, go out to day drink, or go out to a small establishment, or go to a little house party or get together, but put yourself out there, because life is passing by and you're not going to get back all of those moments that you missed out on. So go and do it.
Yes,
Go and
I
live your
love
life.
that. Preach, girl, preach. Okay, and Bentley, any last advice? Tipping drinks? Anybody that wants to go out to a bar?
Again, I can't stress being responsible about it like enough. Don't fuck up like I did, like royally. Like if you are, fortunately, a lot of people in the SCI community do have someone with them and are driving. But if you're going to be drinking, be smart and do not be the one driving. And also be aware of the people around you. Make sure that you are drinking with people that you trust. Like if you are going to go balls to the wall, shots like us females here like to do. Like it's important that you
This is the
can
perfect
let
group to
loose.
pick.
Yes, for sure. Like, but we all are smart about it and have people that we trust and people in our corner in our tribe that when we're getting fucked up, like we do know that we're going to be taken care of.
Yes, I think that is such important advice. Be careful, be aware, plan ahead. Problems are going to occur, but better to plan ahead and be prepared for them than not be prepared at all. And know that you are going to have a couple of bad experiences just because that's life, but don't let that deter you away from going out at all and living your life.
Exactly.
Just kind of mark it down as
Exactly.
that was a bad night. Again, I'm gonna have a better experience and a better mindset when I go into this, and you see what the night where the night takes you. That's what I would say. Definitely. I love this conversation, and I love you girls so much. I'm definitely gonna have you guys on more and to get to know you guys.
Can I say one more thing? For those of you that are injured, I think the phone died on her. Do know that when it comes to riding safely, Uber and Lyft, they are so accommodating. You would be surprised how accommodating.
Yeah.
I've only had 2 bad experiences with one Lyft driver and then one Uber driver. I think Kaley has had one. Remember, I think I was with you, Kaley, when you've had one bad experience with an Uber, or was it Uber or Lyft? Where they're like, oh, well, who's going to get her in or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
and I have one where they complained about my chair, like messing up their seat or something. But most of the time, they're really cool.
Most of the time, they are so accommodating. Not only probably because they're human, but most of the time they have to be accommodating because when they sign on to drive for Uber or Lyft, they do have to sign a paperwork that states that if you have a service animal, or if you have a walker, cane, wheelchair, anything like that, that they are to help you and ensure a safe ride to and from of where you're going. Almost every time that I get picked up, all I have to do is just explain how my chair needs to be taken apart, what they need to do to help me, if they can assist me in any way, if they need to turn the air down, turn the air up, pull the seat up, anything like that. If they need to push me out my driveway, or if they need to open the door for me into a restaurant, any establishment, like they are so accommodating. So don't be afraid to order an Uber or a Lyft, because and they also have a button where you can choose an accessible vehicle where you can roll into and be strapped into. They do have that now, but know that for a fact, most of the cars that pick you up, if you're able to transfer on your own and you are able to tell somebody how to take your chair apart, that they will accommodate you literally 99.9% of the time. You will not have any trouble. Maybe like
some of them will even
stumble.
offer to lift you.
It might be a dick, but they won't deny you, right?
They're not
Yeah, if
allowed
they
to
deny
you.
you, then all you would have to do is just hit up Uber or Lyft and be like, hey, and then they would be fired on the spot. But
Yeah, that's cool. That's
most
cool. That is a great tip to give out
yeah,
to people as
so
well.
because a lot of people ask me, they're like, oh my gosh, like you get in an Uber? I'm like, hell yeah, I do. Like hell yeah, I do. Like I tell them what to do. You know, most of the time my chair fits in a trunk just fine. I have a manual chair. If it doesn't, they put it in the front seat or the back seat with me, and then once I get to where I'm going, they ask me how to put it back together. Most of the time, they know how to put it back together just from taking it apart. And then sometimes they'll even be like, hey, here's my number. If you need a ride back and you can't get an
Yeah.
Uber, call me or anything like that. So it's pretty nice being
That's super
crippled
cool.
sometimes. You get free
I
Uber.
would definitely recommend other people to do that and like give it a try and let us know how it goes, you know, because I know that a lot of people in the community are scared to use it. But I think that they're improving their guidelines and stuff like that. So maybe give it another try. Definitely.
Mhm.
That's a great last tip to give out. So that sucks. Bentley's phone died, but let's end the show before Kaley's phone dies as well.
Yeah.
So this was wonderful.
And then there
I
was
had so much
2.
fun. Yeah, I'm just gonna be right here talking to myself at the end. So this was a great and fun show. I had so much fun talking with you guys. I think it was a really important topic to get to talk about. Thank you everybody that joined us in the chat. It was absolutely popping today. We enjoy you guys watching us so much. If you guys could leave a like on the video, we really, really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. It overall helps us reach more people, and that's our goal, is just to educate and inform and get more people noticed on this channel. So that would really help us out. And then make sure to check back every Tuesday. Sean is back with new shows and new guests. And then I am back every first and third Thursday at 3 p.m. with new topics. So make sure to check back in with us that as well. And yeah, that's it. This was Live to Go. I can't even say our name right now. This was Live to Roll, and we are out. Bye.